Hello, dear students. In our lesson today, we're going to deal with grammar. More specifically, we're going to talk about the different degrees of adjectives. I'm sure you've heard about the comparative form, the superlative form. So, let's start with the comparative form. Take a look at these two men. We are going to compare them. Who is taller, who is shorter. So, let's say that Daniel Gregg is taller than Zac Efron. I'm just giving some examples. So, when we use the comparative form, we have only two people or two objects or two places, but only two. And how do we form the comparative form? We put ER just after the adjective. So, if our adjective, for example, is young, we say he is younger than someone else. Or nice, someone is nicer than someone else. Or hot, hotter than. Be careful here, we need to put double T. Also, when we have one syllable, we saw, or we have two syllable like pretty, and it ends with a Y. So, pretty in the comparative form becomes prettier. So, prettier than. And be careful, Y becomes an I. Or the adjective dry becomes drier. Drier than, and with an IE. Apart from the comparative form, so we said taller than, for example, we can also use the structure as or not as plus the adjective plus as. So we can say the same thing. So let's say that Rupert Grint is not as famous as Daniel Radcliffe. So again, we are comparing these two people by using this structure. So either we use taller than, so the structure with ER and then, or we use the structure as plus adjective plus as. Be careful, when we have longer adjectives like two syllable or longer, then we're not going to put ER in our adjective. It becomes really long. So we use the structure more plus the simple adjective. So we say attractive is one person. If we want to compare two people, we say that someone is more attractive than someone else. Or more, this problem is more difficult than the other problem, for example. Let's continue with the superlative form. We said that in the comparative form, we have only two people or two objects or two places, whereas in the superlative form, we compare one with more than three. So three or more. We don't have two anymore. And the meaning of that is that we have the highest degree of quality. So, we have got these three actors, and we have the adjective tall. My question is, who is the tallest of the three? Of course, we can see that that's Sean Connery. So, Sean Connery is the tallest. This is how the superlative form is formed. So, we have young, who is the youngest, so we put EST, the youngest. Nice, the nicest. Hot, the hottest. Be careful with a double T. If we have one syllable ending with a Y, as we said, we're going to say the driest, which is the driest place, and we drop Y, we put IEST. Or if we have one word with two syllables, then it's going to become the prettiest. Again, we drop Y and we put I. But if we have adjectives with 2 syllables or more, or simply if we have long adjectives, then we're going to use another structure. We're going to use the most. So, attractive, the most attractive of all, or difficult, the most difficult problem of all. Now, let's practice what we learned about the comparative and the superlative form. We're given some sentences, and I would like from you to put the missing word. Music downloads are cheaper, so we compare. It's easy. Are cheaper than, of course, CDs. Number 2, jazz is not as popular. What's missing? Look at the structure. As popular as, of course, classical. Number 3, live music is, what is missing? We have a long adjective. So, is more exciting than. What do we have? We have a comparative form. We compare the live music with the recorded music. We said 2 things when we compare. Lady Gaga is not, what's missing? Talented as. So the structure is as talented as Adele. Male actors have more interesting roles, so we compare again. More interesting than female actors. And the film is never as good as, of course, the book. So as you can see, if you understand whether you have the comparative or the superlative form, it's easy for you to decide which word to put. Be careful. Until now, we talked about regular adjectives. Now we're going to focus on the irregular adjectives. We're going to focus only on 3 of them. So, these 3 do not continue with the regular form that we said ER or EST after the adjective. They have their own form. So, the adjective good becomes better. So, this book is better than the other book. And this book is the best, or the adjective bad. This book or this film is worse than the other film, or this film is the worst of all. And far, further than. This, for example, house is further than the other house. And which is the furthest? Okay, let's go and practice a little bit now with the comparative and the superlative. So, you've got bad, and it says, what is bad song you have ever heard? We have, of course, a superlative form. We compare one song with many songs. So, what is the worst, of course, song you've ever heard? What is, again, superlative form, the greatest band of all time? And number 3, we have a long adjective, so we're going to use the structure with most, the most. So what is the most exciting place in your area? And number 4, who is the funniest comedian you have ever seen? Be careful. We have a 2-syllable word ending with a Y. We drop the Y and we put I. And number 5, who is the best? Can you check? We have the superlative form of good that becomes the best, the irregular adjective. And the last one, who is the most intelligent person that you know? We have a long adjective, that's why we put this structure, the most. Okay? Let's go and see now the difference between too and enough. When we say that you are too young to watch the films, do you think that this person can watch the film? If we say you are too young to watch the film, no, this person cannot see this film because he is more than is needed. Let's say this is the general structure of too. When something is more than we need or we want, we use too. And too has, let's say, a negative notion. It's something that you cannot do. Whereas enough is less than you need. Let's see the example. The comedian is not funny enough. So he is funny, but not enough funny for us to laugh. So again, we have a negative meaning. But too is put in front of the adjective, whereas enough is put after the adjective. But they have the same meaning. Let's go and complete the exercise. I'm old to watch X-rated films. You have to be 18, so I cannot watch it because I'm not old enough to watch it. Number 2, I don't go to the cinema much. Tickets are, can I go? I cannot go. So they are too expensive for me to buy them. So we said the word too gives us this notion that is something, as we said, it's more than I can handle. It's more than I can afford. Let's move on to the next one. I am not confident enough to perform on stage. So this is something negative again. I cannot do it. Number 4, I'm, you have the adjective young, to remember music from 1990s. So I cannot remember the music because I'm too young. Number 5, I'm patient to learn a musical instrument. So am I patient? I am not. So I am not patient enough to learn the musical instrument. Number 6, I don't download films. My internet connection is it fast? Since I cannot download it, it is not fast. So, is not fast enough. Okay? Let's continue a little bit more with our practice. We have one more exercise. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the adjectives in brackets. We have New York, comparing, and Barcelona. So, New York is, for example, more modern than. In every sentence, we might have those small words that help us to define whether we're going to use the comparative form or the superlative. So we said if we have two, and of course the word than helps us, we're going to compare them. We're going to use the comparative form. Now we've got January is, the adjective is called, of the year. So we don't have two. We compare January with all the months. So we need the superlative form. The is the coldest month of the year. Katy Perry is not as, that's easy. When we have the structure we said as, we leave the adjective as it is. So not as popular as Miley Cyrus. Number 4, this is the adjective is bad, film I've ever seen. So I'm not comparing here two, but one with many. So again, we need the superlative form. So this is the worst film, of course. And as you can see, the word the is given. So I only write worst. My younger brother is, the adjective is tall, so I'm comparing, is taller than me. And the last one, my English isn't as, again we have the structure as, so it's going to remain as it is not as good as my German. Okay? These were the exercises. Please revise every single exercise many times so that you can feel certain about your knowledge. Take care. Goodbye.